Negative and zero exponents. Big number one. Any number raised to the zero power equals 1, except 0. So any non-zero number raised to the zero power equals 1. 5 to the 0 equals 1. The quantity negative 2x to the 0 power equals 1. X to the 0 equals 1. The quantity a to the third b to the second raised to the 0 power also equals 1. Big number two. For any non-zero number, x to the negative n power equals 1 over x to the n power. Now this seems a little bit complicated, but it's very easy. So if you have 7 to the negative 3 power, using the rule, you move it to the bottom and make it positive. See, negative n became positive n. So move this whole thing to the denominator and then change the sign. I like to say, flip the side of the fraction and change the sign of the exponent. Now the same applies if you do it backwards. So 1 over y to the 6th power will move sides of the fraction. It's on the bottom, it's going to move to the numerator, and it was positive, so it will become negative. Switch the side of the fraction and change the sign of the exponent. Now, it's in the top. Remember, it's over an invisible 1. Okay? You're not going to write the over 1 part, but know that now it's not in the bottom anymore, it is in the numerator. And another example, 3x y to the negative 4th power. The 3 has a positive exponent. It's a 1. The x has a positive exponent. It's a 1. Remember, if you don't see the exponent, it's a 1. Y has a negative exponent. Negative 4 is the exponent. The only part that's going to move is the part with the negative exponent. This y to the negative 4th, it's in the top, so it's going to move to the denominator and become positive 4. The 3 and the x will both remain where they are. The only part that moves is the negative part. Example number 1. 6 to the negative 3 will move to the denominator and become positive. 1 over 6 to the 3rd power. Example number 2. A to the negative 5th power. The same thing works for numerical basis and variable basis. So a to the 5th will go to the bottom, and the exponent was negative, now it's positive. You have to have your placeholder 1 on top. Example number 3. 1 over 5 to the 2nd power. This is already in fraction form, right? It's in the denominator, so it's going to move to the numerator and change sign. It was positive, so now it becomes negative. Example number 4, 1 over 36. Now you might be thinking, why isn't it 36 to the negative 1 power? Well, it is. That's an acceptable answer as well. But I want you to be able to see that 36 is the same thing as 6 to the 2nd power, right? 6 times 6 gives us 36. So I rewrote it as 6 to the 2nd power in the denominator. Remember, the 1's still up there. And now I can change it to negative exponent by moving it to the numerator and changing the sign of the exponent. Switch the side and change the sign. Example number 5. 1 human hair is about 1,000th, this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 1,000th inch in diameter. Write the decimal as a power of 10. So here I have 1/1000th, that's 1 over 1,000, or 1 divided by 1,000. Now, a trick with the tens is you can just count the zeros, and that's how you know what the exponent's supposed to be. So this is 1, 2, 3 zeros. That's the same thing as 10 to the 3rd power. 10 times 10 is 100, times 10 again gives you 1,000. So 10 to the 3rd power. 1 over 10 to the 3rd power can be rewritten as 10 to the negative 3rd power. Remember, switch the side of the fraction and change the sign of the exponent. So 1 human hair is about 10 to the negative 3rd power inches thick. Multiply and divide negative exponents. Example number 6. 5 to the 3rd power times 5 to the negative 5th power. Now you've done this before, multiplying like bases. You add the exponents. Well, now these are negative exponents. You're still going to do the same thing. So keep the base is 5, and add the exponents. 3 plus a negative 5. Well, 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2. Remember, adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting. When the signs are opposite, you subtract. And you keep the sign of the larger number. So 5 is bigger than 3. 5 was negative, so this will be a negative 2. Now, to change it to a positive exponent, you'll move it to the denominator and make it positive. 5 squared, that's 5 times 5, which is 25. Don't forget your 1 placeholder, 1 over 25, or 1/25. Example number 7, w to the negative 1 divided by w to the negative 4. Now you've done this rule as well. When dividing like bases, you subtract the exponents. Keep the base, w, and subtract the exponents. Remember, top subtract bottom. Negative 1 minus negative 4. Remember, I told you that you should consider that division bar as a big negative sign, so you remember to subtract. Consider this as a big negative sign. All right, so negative 1 minus negative 4. Lots of people get tripped up and forget that that's a minus sign right there, okay? So negative 1 minus negative 4. When you subtract a negative, minus a negative means plus. So here they became positive. Negative 1 plus 4 gives you positive 3. So w to the third power.